This is the celebrations of the entry into First Division. Bill Green, great train. We were having a Jimmy Bendall, we were having a double-decker bus up to the, there's Andrew and Diane, double-decker bus up to the town centre, Mr. and Mrs. Simpson. There's O'Neill. Johnny Gorman. Frank Clark, Stan Turnant. Now why the colour has changed, I can't tell you. That's Alan Ashman talking from the balcony to Town Hall. And why we've lost our colour, I can't, and why it's flickering. It's just gone now. There's nothing flickering in the projector. Nothing to do with that. Cow likes to see. Now that wall, as I said, instead of doing the wall up, we just put a fence up. It's the view of the Civic Centre from the top of the grandstand. There's the tin fence going up, and there's the grandstand gradually getting filled up. And that end bit there, we made it into our gymnasium. I've allowed the builders to come and brick it up, and left that piece into there for an executive room eventually. That bit in there. I put the concrete flooring in, and here's the terracing going in 1974 when we floodlights. You know, floodlights were condemned by the referees, and we had to put new floodlights in. I negotiated a contract with the firm from Oxford for 26,000, and made it very clear to them that there was no foundations to work in, and they had to make sure what they were doing was right. And of course, when they managed to dig in for the foundations, they found that they had to put twice as much concrete and foundation in as they anticipated. This was taking the electric wires round from the main distributing source round to where the boxes are in the corner at the Warwick Road end for the main. Now that's the flood bank wall that's the picture that there is a flood bank wall that corresponds with the heap, a raised heap on the other side for the flood bank. And here's our stands, the wing stands completed. Promoted to a physio. Here's one of the floods looking across towards the rugby ground, which of course is now trees, and the rugby ground fully covered up with water and coming up very close to the entrance into the stand. And that was the level of it. By now, of course, we put up the Warwick Road end stand, and that's the view from the grandstand, and you can see how much the ground falls away to that end. As I say again, you can see the wall, and that used to be, there's a little bridge across which was just a bog in there, and to my mind was probably a natural drainage once the floods had receded. That's quite a big flood, but by the same token not as big as the ones that we had in '68. By now, of course, we've managed to purchase some of this land, and we've made that into a car park, and that used to be the entrance to it from St Aidan's Road, and I think that's the sentry box which I bought at an MU sale for the ticket collector or the money collector when the cars came in to be out of the weather. And those are the gardens at St. That's where the Fox's restaurant is now, up above that lot. And then of course we had the flood of 1968, which washed away our bridge at Llanwathby, but at the same time Brooklyn Park was isolated. We couldn't get anywhere near. It was full of water right up to the door, and that was as near as I could get. Just past one of those sentry huts. This is in the back of the rugby ground. They were actually rowing boats up Warwick Road, but there's the stanchions going up for the extension. And there's the rugby ground. It was an unbelievable flood, but it can happen again. There's no question about that. And this, of course, was the mess that we found all our sleepers in. The sleepers from the terracing had been lifted and deposited on the plain area, and in particular into the corner there where the water used to run out after the flood receded. They couldn't get back to the place, but there was that seat had been removed from the other side of the ground completely, and now we had to decide what to do, so we decided to concrete the terracing at the waterworks end using the staff. In other words, we're back to Dick and Herbert, and Ronnie Simpson, George McVitie, Peter Garbett, that's Peter, and this was the year that the terracing was done at the waterworks end. There's Ronnie Simpson. we thought we would be able to do it using the players, because this helps to keep the players fit. That's Mike Green, who was a bit of a golfer, I gather, all the better looks of it. It helped for anybody to jump over because it was wobbly, and there wasn't much chance of them being able to jump over. And now here we had to put a diamond shape, and there's grey, which was the only way to do it. Unfortunately, the wall that we put up near to the waterworks end on the stand side, we didn't put our steelwork in it as we should. Water had got in and frozen and had split the piping a little bit. Now this was what I call the cowboy effort to redrain Brunton Park in 1982. They cost £25,000 to put these drains in, and as you can see, they're not level, and they're that whole type of nylon. It wasn't long before the holes were all blocked up and they wouldn't take any of the so you can see the pattern of the drains that were put in, and the one taken right down the centre.